On a sunny morning, the park was filled with children playing, people walking their dogs and families enjoying the day. However, amidst this ordinary scene of leisure, something disturbing was about to happen. A young woman, Anna, arrived at the park with her young son, Miguel. They sat on a bench, where Anna spent some time talking to the boy, stroking his hair and giving him instructions with a sad and distressed expression. After a few minutes, Anna looked around, took a deep breath and, with one last look at her son, got up and quickly walked away, disappearing into the crowd. Miguel, who was about 4 years old, stayed on the bench, looking around in confusion and holding tightly to his teddy bear. People passed by him without realizing what was happening, immersed in their own activities. Time seemed to stop for the boy, who, after a few minutes, began calling for his mother in a trembling voice. The lack of response and the growing desperation in his eyes were distressing. He got up and tried to follow the path Anna had left, but he didn't know where to go. It was then that Señor Luis, an elderly man who used to go for morning walks in the park, noticed Miguel alone and crying. Luis approached the boy, worried, and tried to calm him down. Upon realizing that the child was alone and could not explain where his mother was, Luis decided to act quickly. He asked a few people around if anyone knew who the boy was, but no one seemed to have seen Anna leave. With a sense of urgency and concern, Luis took out his cell phone and called the police, explaining the situation. While they waited for the police to arrive, Luis stayed by Miguel's side, trying to distract him with light conversations and jokes, in an attempt to calm him down. The scene was both moving and worrying, with the elderly man doing his best to comfort the frightened boy. Other park-goers began to notice the situation, and a small crowd gathered, murmuring concerns and trying to offer help. The tension in the air was palpable as everyone knew something was very wrong. When police arrived, officers immediately began investigating the situation. They spoke to Luis and other witnesses to try to get information about Anna. Miguel, still confused and with tears in his eyes, was taken to the police car, where officers tried to get more information from him, but the boy was too young and shaken to provide useful details. The police quickly organized a search of the area, trying to locate Anna or find any clues as to her whereabouts. Meanwhile, Luis offered to accompany Miguel to the police station, worried about the boy's well-being. At the police station, social workers were called to look after Miguel and make sure he was safe. The image of the boy, now in a strange environment and surrounded by worried adults, was a painful reminder of the vulnerability of children. Police began working with social workers to discover the mother's identity and understand the circumstances that led her to leave her son alone in the park. As the hours passed, Miguel's situation caught the attention of the local media. The story of a child left alone in a park quickly spread, and the news began covering the case, asking for information about Anna's whereabouts. The community mobilized, offering support and donations for Miguel's well-being. Mr. Luis, who felt emotionally attached to the boy, remained in contact with authorities, awaiting news about Miguel's mother and worried about what would happen next. The police continued their investigation, analyzing security camera footage and looking for witnesses who could provide information about Anna. They discovered that she had left the park without looking back, which indicated that her act of abandoning her son could have been planned. Anna's absence and the silence regarding her whereabouts left a series of unanswered questions. Meanwhile, Miguel remained under the care of social services, awaiting an outcome to the situation. The police arrived at the park quickly, following the emergency call made by Mr. Luis. The police approached the boy, Miguel, who was visibly scared and confused. The presence of authorities seemed to increase his anxiety, and he began to cry, calling for his mother. The officers, experienced in dealing with delicate situations, approached Miguel carefully, trying to calm him and make sure he felt safe. They explained that they were there to help him and that they would do everything they could to find his mother. While Miguel was comforted, the police began to gather information from the people around him. Señor Luis, who had been the first to notice the boy alone, reported everything he had seen. He described how the woman, presumably the mother, had quickly left the park after leaving Miguel on the bench. Other parkgoers were questioned, but few had useful information. The woman's vague description and lack of additional details made the investigation more challenging. Officers decided the best course of action was to take Miguel to the police station, where he could receive care while also being in a safe environment while they awaited more information about his mother. A social worker was called to care for Miguel and offer emotional support while police continued their investigation. Miguel, still in shock, held tightly to his teddy bear, the only comfort he seemed to have in that moment of uncertainty. At the police station, the social worker, named Ana Paula, tried to establish a relationship of trust with Miguel. She spoke calmly to him, asking about his mother and if he knew where she might be. Miguel, with his eyes full of tears, could only say that he wanted to go home, but he didn't know where it was. Ana Paula, with her soft, reassuring voice, assured Miguel that they would do everything possible to find his mother and that he would be safe until then. Meanwhile, the police worked hard to discover Anna's identity and the reasons for her disappearance. They checked records of missing people and cross-referenced information with descriptions provided by testimonies. The lack of documents or specific information about the woman's identity complicated the situation. Local media began reporting on the case, increasing pressure on the police to find quick and accurate answers. With the help of security cameras in the park and surrounding areas, police were able to gain some clues about Anna's movements before and after leaving the park. The images showed Anna arriving with Miguel and, later, leaving alone. The recordings were analyzed to try and identify the direction she took, in the hope of finding some clue as to where she might have gone. However, information was limited, and the trail went cold quickly. As authorities continued their investigation, Miguel's story touched many people in the community. Public interest grew, and many offers of help were made to support the boy, from donations of clothes and toys to offers from families willing to take him in temporarily. Social worker Ana Paula worked to ensure Miguel was comfortable and safe while they waited for the situation to unfold. She was also in constant contact with the police, waiting for any news about Ana. As the days went by, Miguel's situation stabilized. He began to get used to the new routine, but his mother's absence continued to be a shadow over him. Authorities made a public appeal, asking Ana or anyone with information about her whereabouts to get in touch. Meanwhile, Miguel, surrounded by care, began to show signs of recovery, although uncertainty about the future still hung over everyone involved. The police investigation into Miguel's abandonment in the park took shape quickly, with officers committed to discovering his mother's identity and the reasons that led her to make such a drastic decision. The first clues were obtained through security camera images, which showed Ana arriving at the park with Miguel and then leaving alone. Analysis of the videos revealed little about his fate after leaving the park, but it helped police get a clear picture of his appearance. From these images, the police began to cross-reference data with records of missing people and women involved in social risk situations. At the same time, they made a public appeal in the local media, publishing Anna's description and asking anyone with information to get in touch. The community, already touched by Miguel's story, responded promptly, providing several clues and reports. Some of this information was useful, allowing the police to narrow down Anna's identity. With the help of social services, the police were able to create a more detailed profile of Ana. It turned out that she was a young woman, around 28 years old, who had faced a series of challenges throughout her life. Ana had a history of financial instability, with precarious jobs and difficulties in supporting herself and her son. Furthermore, records indicated that she had recently gone through a complicated separation, which further aggravated her emotional and financial situation. As the investigations progressed, other information began to emerge. Ana had tried to seek help in several ways, including visiting social support centers and charitable organizations, where she sought assistance in obtaining food and clothing for Miguel. These accounts painted a picture of a woman desperately fighting to keep her son safe and fed, while dealing with her own internal battles. Police also found that Ana had faced mental health issues, made worse by the ongoing stress of her circumstances. Interviews with Anna's neighbors and acquaintances revealed an even more complex picture. Some described Ana as a dedicated and loving mother, but deeply overwhelmed. She was known for being private, rarely sharing her personal problems with others. Other people mentioned that she had become more withdrawn and desperate in recent months, an indication that the situation was getting worse. There were also reports that Anna had tried to seek help from family members, but with little success, due to tense and distant relationships. Police also investigated the circumstances surrounding Miguel's father. It turned out that he had completely removed himself from Anna and Miguel's lives after the separation, leaving Anna alone to take care of their son. Without financial or emotional support, Anna found herself trapped in a cycle of difficulties, without a support network to help her. This helped explain the state of despair that led Anna to abandon Miguel in the park, believing that perhaps someone else could offer her son a better life. As the investigation unfolded, the police faced the challenge of locating Anna. There were indications that she may have sought refuge in women's shelters, or even in the homes of acquaintances who were willing to discreetly help. The search for Anna intensified, with police coordinating efforts with social workers and community organizations to ensure she was found safe. Anna and Miguel's story became an emblematic case of the difficulties faced by many families in vulnerable situations. Finally, after weeks of searches and public appeals, police were able to locate Anna in a women's shelter. She was in a state of great emotional fragility, exhausted and without hope. Anna's discovery brought a mix of relief and concern to authorities, who were now faced with the task of fully understanding her situation and ensuring that both she and Miguel received the support they needed. Anna was taken into custody to be heard and receive the necessary support, marking the beginning of a new chapter in the difficult journey of this young mother and her son. Anna's story is a narrative of struggle and resistance, marked by challenges that few could imagine. Anna, a 28-year-old girl, grew up in an environment of instability and emotional needs. From an early age, she faced financial difficulties, which led her to work several precarious jobs to support herself. These circumstances made his formal education difficult, limiting his opportunities for professional growth. Over the years, Anna has always had to fight to keep a roof over her head and food on the table. The turning point in Anna's life occurred when she met Miguel's father. At first, the relationship seemed to promise stability and support, but it quickly became a source of stress and pain. Anna's partner turned out to be insensitive and irresponsible, and the relationship deteriorated even further when Anna became pregnant with Miguel. Without the support of the child's father, and with her responsibilities as a mother looming, Anna faced increasing pressure. The situation worsened when, after Miguel's birth, the father walked away completely, leaving Anna alone to raise her son. Anna struggled to balance the demands of being a single mother with the need to work to support her family. She threw herself into a series of low-paying jobs that offered little stability and security. The lack of a support network became more evident every day, especially when Anna faced a series of health problems that temporarily disabled her. Without close family or friends she could fully trust, Anna found herself in a situation of isolation and despair. The pressure intensified when Anna lost her permanent job due to staff cuts. With no regular income and bills piling up, she began to rely on help from charitable organizations to meet Miguel's basic needs. Frequent visits to social support centers became part of her routine, where she found temporary relief but no long-term support. The constant uncertainty and inability to provide a stable life for her son began to take an increasing toll on her emotional and mental state. Over time, Anna's situation began to affect her mental health. She developed signs of depression, exacerbated by ongoing stress and feelings of failure as a mother. Anna fought daily to maintain a semblance of normalcy for Miguel, but inside, she was falling apart. The feeling of helplessness and the fear that her son would be taken away by social services if his situation became untenable consumed his thoughts. Anna found herself at a dead end, not knowing who to turn to or how to find a solution to her problems. It was in this context of despair that Anna made the decision to leave Miguel in the park. For many, the act of abandonment seemed incomprehensible, but for Anna, it was an attempt to ensure that Miguel had a better chance in life, even if it meant giving up on him. She believed that someone would find her son and could offer him what she couldn't: stability, security, and unconditional love. Anna hoped that, by walking away, she was giving Miguel an opportunity for a better future, something she felt she was unable to provide. After her disappearance, Anna's life became even more precarious. She sought refuge in shelters and support organizations, trying to stay under the radar while dealing with the guilt and pain of her decision. Anna's emotional state deteriorated further, leaving her in a fragile condition when she was finally found by the police. Anna's discovery in a women's shelter marked the beginning of a process of recovery and reevaluation of her life, as authorities worked to fully understand her situation and find a solution for Miguel. Anna's story is a heartbreaking testament to the difficulties faced by many single mothers who, without adequate support, find themselves trapped in cycles of poverty and despair. The decision to abandon Miguel, although extreme, was an expression of the despair she felt. Now, with the help of authorities and the community, Anna was about to embark on a journey of rehabilitation and reconciliation, hoping to rebuild her life and eventually reconnect with her son. The elderly man who called the police, Senor Luis, soon became an essential figure in little Miguel's life. From the moment he found the boy alone in the park, Luis felt a special connection with him. The image of Miguel, vulnerable and confused, left a deep mark on his heart. Luis, a retired and widowed man who had lived alone for years, found a new purpose by getting involved in the boy's life. His first action was to ensure that Miguel was safe and well taken care of, but this responsibility quickly turned into an emotional bond. Luis began visiting Miguel regularly at the social assistance center where the boy was being cared for. Each visit was an opportunity to bring toys, books, and, most importantly, a constant and comforting presence in Miguel's life. The boy, still trying to understand his mother's absence, found in Luis a father figure and a friend. The games and conversations between the two became an important part of Miguel's routine, helping him to feel less lost amidst so many changes. As time passed, Luis began to think of ways to help Miguel on a more permanent basis. He wondered how he could offer the boy a sense of stability and continuity, something that seemed to be missing in the boy's life. Luis knew that the foster care system was only a temporary solution and that Miguel would need a stable home to grow up healthy and happy. The idea of adoption began to creep into his thoughts, but he knew this was a serious decision that required a lot of consideration. Luis decided to talk to social workers about his intentions. He wanted to understand the adoption process and whether, as a senior, he could be considered a suitable candidate to adopt Miguel. During these discussions, it became clear that, despite his age, Luis had a stable life and the resources necessary to care for Miguel. Most importantly, he had a strong desire to provide the boy with a loving home. The social workers were impressed by Luis's dedication and agreed to explore this possibility. However, Luis was also aware that Miguel's mother, Anna, was still involved in the boy's life, even if indirectly. Anna's situation needed to be resolved before any decision about permanent custody could be made. Luis was concerned about Anna's well-being and wanted to ensure that any decision was made in Miguel's best interests, taking his mother's wishes into consideration. He was willing to support Anna, if possible, helping her get back on her feet so she could resume her role as a mother. While these issues were discussed, Luis continued to be a constant presence in Miguel's life. They spent happy moments together, such as visits to parks, afternoons reading, and even short trips to explore the city. These activities not only strengthened their bond, but also helped Miguel feel safer and more loved. Luis's emotional support was crucial to Miguel's development during this tumultuous time, offering him an anchor amid the chaos. Luis also became an active voice in the community, sharing Miguel's story and raising awareness of the importance of community support in situations like Anna and her son. He organized fundraisers and events to help not only Miguel, but also other children in similar situations. Luis firmly believed that the community could make a difference in the lives of those facing hardship, and he wanted to be a living example of this. Finally, Luis prepared to meet with Anna as soon as she was ready to discuss Miguel's future. He wanted her to know that regardless of the final decision, he would be there to support Miguel and ensure the boy had a happy and safe life. Luis also hoped he could help Anna find a path back to stability, whether through emotional or financial support. His main concern was to ensure that Miguel never felt abandoned or alone again, and he was willing to do whatever was necessary to achieve that goal. The story of Miguel, the boy abandoned in the park, quickly gained attention from the local media, raising awareness in the community and generating a wave of solidarity. The journalistic coverage highlighted Señor Luis's heroic act and Miguel's delicate situation, arousing deep interest and compassion among the public. News about the case was widely reported, including appeals for anyone with information about Ana's whereabouts to contact authorities. The heartbreaking tale of a vulnerable boy and his missing mother touched the hearts of many. In response to the growing attention, members of the local community began mobilizing to help Miguel and support efforts to find Ana. Schools, churches, and community groups organized donation drives for clothes, toys, and supplies to ensure Miguel had everything he needed during this uncertain time. Furthermore, several families expressed interest in taking in Miguel temporarily, if necessary. Generosity and community spirit manifested itself powerfully, with many people getting involved in meaningful ways. Police and social workers worked hand in hand with the community to distribute leaflets and disseminate information about Ana, hoping to find her as quickly as possible. Social media has also become an important communication channel, with posts being shared thousands of times, further expanding the reach of the appeal. Volunteers offered to help with searches and monitor areas where Ana could be hiding, in a show of support and concern for her and Miguel's well-being. Señor Luis, who had become a father figure to Miguel, also became actively involved in community efforts. He participated in interviews with the media, sharing the story of how he found Miguel and expressing his desire to see him reunited with his mother if possible. Luis highlighted the importance of community support in times like these and encouraged others to continue to help in any way they can. His role was crucial in keeping the case in the public's mind and ensuring that the search for Ana did not lose momentum. Media attention and community mobilization not only helped gather material resources for Miguel, but also provided emotional support. Many people sent letters and messages of encouragement to the boy, showing him that he was not alone. Psychologists and counselors volunteered to provide support, helping Miguel deal with the trauma of abandonment and uncertainty about the future. The community became a safety net for Miguel, offering him care and support while his situation was resolved. Meanwhile, the search for Ana continued. Some people reported sightings of a woman matching Ana's description in various parts of the city and surrounding areas. Police checked all leads, but many proved fruitless. However, the persistence of the community and authorities kept hope alive that Ana would be found. The collective support also provided a platform to discuss wider issues around social care and supporting single mothers in crisis situations. Community engagement also helped raise awareness of the need for better support systems for vulnerable families. Advocacy groups and charitable organizations have used Miguel's case to highlight the importance of accessible resources for at-risk mothers and children. They promoted fundraising campaigns and pushed for public policies that offered comprehensive and sustainable support. Miguel's story became a catalyst for a broader dialogue about social care and protection. Finally, the community's collective effort created an environment where Miguel could feel safe and loved, even in his mother's absence. The acts of generosity and continued support showed that, despite the difficulties, there was hope for a better future for him. The community came together to ensure Miguel and his mother had a second chance, highlighting the power of solidarity and community spirit. Even as the search for Ana continued, Miguel was surrounded by a love that transcended the unknown and provided comfort in times of uncertainty. Weeks have passed since Miguel was found in the park, and the search for Ana has finally brought results. The police located Ana at a women's shelter, several kilometers away from the park where she had left Miguel. The discovery was a relief for many, especially for Señor Luis and the community that mobilized around the case. Ana was found in an extremely fragile emotional state, exhausted and disoriented. The shelter's social workers reported that she had arrived there in a state of great distress and had since been under care, trying to recover. When police and social workers spoke to Ana, she was initially reticent and anxious. However, upon realizing that she was in a safe environment and that Miguel was being well looked after, Ana began to open up about the events that led her to abandon her son. She revealed that, before the incident, she had been facing a series of personal and financial crises that left her with no way out. The loss of his job, combined with isolation and lack of a support network, had exacerbated his already delicate mental situation. Ana explained that, when leaving Miguel in the park, her intention was not to abandon him permanently. She believed that someone would find him and could offer him a better life, something she felt she could not provide. Ana detailed her state of despair, sharing that she felt unable to adequately care for Miguel, given his emotional state and lack of resources. The decision to leave was, according to her, an act of desperate love and self-sacrifice, in an attempt to guarantee a safer future for her son. Social workers and the police, upon hearing Ana's account, realized the depth of despair that led her to make this decision. They were touched by her situation and understood that she had not acted out of malice, but rather out of an overwhelming feeling of helplessness. Ana was visibly relieved to know that Miguel was safe and receiving care. She expressed deep regret over her decision and begged for a chance to make things right. Her biggest fear, she revealed, was that Miguel would be taken away from her permanently. Given Ana's emotional state, it was decided that she would continue to receive intensive psychological support to help stabilize her condition. Social workers began working on a rehabilitation plan for her, including counseling and support in finding stable employment. The goal was to not only help her recover, but also prepare her to resume her role as a mother, if that was deemed to be in Miguel's best interests. Ana's situation was handled very sensitively, recognizing the complexity of her circumstances. At the same time, the police continued to investigate whether there were other circumstances that could have contributed to Miguel's abandonment. They sought to ensure that all aspects of Miguel's safety and well-being were considered. This included assessing whether there were other forms of support that could be offered to Ana, to ensure she could reintegrate into community life in a healthy and safe way. The possibility of reunification between mother and child began to be explored, with everyone involved aware of the complexities and emotional challenges involved. Meanwhile, the news that Ana had been found brought a new wave of support and interest from the community. Many people were relieved to hear that Miguel's mother was alive and receiving help. The same people who had supported Miguel rallied to help Ana, offering donations and resources to support her recovery. There was a general feeling of hope that, with the right support, Ana could overcome her difficulties and eventually be reunited with her son. Finally, the possibility of a meeting between Ana and Miguel began to be discussed. Social workers were cautious, knowing that a hasty meeting could be emotionally destabilizing for both. A gradual plan was drawn up, where Ana and Miguel could reunite in a safe and controlled environment, with psychological support present to help with the transition. The main focus was Miguel's well-being and ensuring that any decision made was in his best interests. Ana's journey to reunite with her son was just beginning, but her discovery and the support of the community and professionals involved offered a light at the end of the tunnel. After being found by the police, Ana was confronted by authorities and the media about abandoning her son, Miguel. News of his reunion with authorities quickly spread, attracting journalists and onlookers. The media was eager for answers, and the public wanted to understand the reasons behind his decision. Ana, still emotionally fragile, found herself at the center of a media storm, with cameras and microphones directed at her, seeking explanations and comments about what had happened. Authorities began a formal investigation process to determine whether Ana should face legal charges for abandoning Miguel in the park. During the interrogations, Ana explained again the reasons that led her to make that desperate decision. She emphasized her unstable mental state and the despair she felt, believing that by leaving Miguel, she would be providing him with a chance at a better future. However, her confession did not absolve her of potential legal liability, and authorities needed to consider the implications of her actions. At the same time, lawyers and child rights experts were involved to assess Miguel's situation and ensure that his interests were protected. There was intense discussion about the best way to proceed, considering both Miguel's well-being and Ana's extenuating circumstances. While some advocated a more punitive approach, others believed that Ana needed support and treatment, not punishment. The complexity of the case made the decision difficult, with multiple interested parties voicing their opinions. The media, in turn, painted a multifaceted picture of Ana. While some media outlets portrayed her as a desperate and vulnerable mother, others focused on the aspect of abandonment and the need for justice to protect Miguel. The public narrative has become polarized, with differing opinions on whether Anna should be punished or supported. This added additional pressure on authorities, who needed to make a balanced and fair decision that took into account the well-being of everyone involved. Faced with the potential charges, Anna's lawyers argued that Miguel's abandonment was not a malicious act, but rather the result of a mental and emotional crisis. They presented evidence of Anna's deteriorating mental state and the financial and social difficulties she faced. The defense maintained that Anna was in a state of extreme despair and that the best solution would be to provide her with the psychological and financial support necessary to recover and potentially get back together with Miguel. Meanwhile, the social welfare system and children's rights organizations were closely monitoring Miguel's situation. The issue of his custody and Anna's future role in his life were up for debate. Experts insisted on the importance of ensuring that any decision made was for the boy's benefit, prioritizing his safety and emotional stability. The possibility of reunification with Anna depended on her ability to recover and demonstrate that she could provide a safe and loving environment. Over time, as the legal process unfolded, Anna began participating in intensive therapy sessions and rehabilitation programs. She was determined to improve her situation and prove that she could be a good mother to Miguel. The process was not easy, but Anna proved resilient, working hard to rebuild her life. Authorities closely monitored her progress, ready to adjust their recommendations based on Anna's development. The discussion about Anna and Miguel's fate continued to generate public interest, and many people became involved in the debate about justice and compassion. The case brought to light broader questions about how society should deal with situations of child abandonment and the role of social support in preventing family crises. In the end, the decision about Anna and Miguel's future would be a test of balance between the rigor of the law and the need for empathy and support for individuals in crisis. Authorities, the community, and experts were all focused on ensuring that the resolution of the case served to protect and promote Miguel's well-being, while providing Anna a chance at redemption and recovery. Following intense media scrutiny and legal assessment of the case, Anna began a carefully planned rehabilitation process to help her rebuild her life. With guidance from social workers and mental health professionals, she began participating in individual and group counseling sessions. These sessions aimed to help her deal with past traumas, understand the root causes of her actions, and develop strategies to face future challenges in a healthy way. Anna, who was initially hesitant, gradually began to open up, facing her fears and insecurities. Anna's rehabilitation process was not limited to the emotional aspect. Recognizing the financial difficulties and lack of stability that contributed to her crisis, local authorities and organizations provided her with temporary financial support and helped her find stable employment. Additionally, she was enrolled in job training courses to broaden her skills and increase her chances of obtaining an occupation that could support herself and Miguel in the long term. Help came not only from authorities, but also from members of the community who were touched by his story. Senor Luis, who had already become an important figure in Miguel's life, continued to play an active role in supporting Anna. He visited her regularly, offering advice and encouragement. Luis also facilitated Anna's contact with community and charitable organizations, ensuring she had access to all available resources. He firmly believed in Anna's second chance and was determined to do everything he could to help secure a better future for her and Miguel. Luis's friendship and support were fundamental to Anna's recovery process. The local community has also mobilized impressively to help Anna. Support groups have formed to offer everything from clothing and food to legal advice. Many community members, who were moved by Anna and Miguel's story, donated time and resources to help them get back on their feet. Fundraising events were organized, and several people volunteered to help with childcare and other needs. The solidarity shown was proof of the power of the community to provide support and hope to those in crisis. As Anna worked to rehabilitate herself, supervised visits with Miguel began to be planned. The team of social workers ensured that these meetings took place in a safe and controlled environment, allowing Anna and Miguel to reconnect gradually and positively. The first visits were full of emotion, but also uncertainty. Miguel, still young and confused, needed time to understand what was happening. Anna, on the other hand, was eager to show her son that she was changing for the better and that her love for him had never waned. As the visits became more frequent, a renewed bond began to blossom between mother and son. Ana showed a genuine commitment to her recovery and made a point of actively participating in Miguel's life, even though he was still in the recovery process. Social workers and psychologists closely monitored their progress, ensuring that Miguel's well-being was always the priority. The interactions between Ana and Miguel showed signs of healing and reconnection, with moments of play and affection that indicated a gradual recovery from the trauma. In addition to emotional and material support, Ana also received help navigating the legal and social assistance system. Volunteer lawyers helped her understand her rights and resolve legal issues related to her case. They worked to ensure that Ana had the best possible chance of regaining custody of Miguel if it was deemed safe and beneficial for him. This legal support was crucial for Ana, who was determined to demonstrate that she could provide a stable and loving environment for her son. In the end, the rehabilitation process and community support allowed Ana to begin a new chapter in her life. Although there were still challenges to overcome, Ana demonstrated remarkable resilience and a strong determination to recover and care for Miguel. Ana and Miguel's story has become a symbol of hope and second chances, inspiring many in the community to believe in the possibility of change and redemption. Ana's journey was not easy, but with the support of people like Señor Luis and the community, she was able to begin rebuilding her life and offering Miguel the prospect of a better future. As time passed, Ana managed to overcome many of the challenges that had brought her to such a desperate point. The rehabilitation process she had begun bore significant fruit, both in terms of her mental health and her financial situation. Thanks to the training courses and ongoing support from the community, Ana was able to find a stable job, which allowed her to start building a safer life for herself and Miguel. This new beginning was marked by a series of small victories that, together, represented a significant transformation in his life. The community that rallied to support Ana continued to be a constant source of support. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers, touched by her story, contributed in many ways. Some helped with practical services like childcare and transportation, while others provided emotional support, listening, and offering advice. The solidarity shown by everyone around made Ana's journey less lonely and more full of hope. She was no longer alone. There was a network of people willing to help her stay strong. Señor Luis, who had been a central figure in the beginning of Miguel and Ana's story, became a constant and vital presence. He continued to visit Miguel regularly, strengthening the bond he had created with the boy. Luis, who had vast life experience and a generous heart, became a kind of father figure to Miguel, offering guidance and affection. He was also a great support to Ana, offering words of encouragement and helping her navigate everyday challenges. The relationship the three developed was a testament to the power of compassion and community. Miguel, now in a more stable environment, began to flourish. With the security of having his mother close by and Luis's constant support, he adapted well to the changes in his life. Miguel was enrolled in a local school, where he made new friends and began to explore his skills and interests. Ana dedicated herself to creating a loving, structured home for him, taking every opportunity to strengthen their bond. The supervised visits that began as a safety measure soon became a space for love and reconciliation. As Ana stabilized and grew stronger, authorities began to consider the possibility of allowing her to resume full custody of Miguel. Social workers, who closely monitored Ana's progress, were impressed by her determination and commitment to recovery. They saw in Ana a dedicated mother, willing to do anything to ensure her son's well-being. The reunification process was carefully planned and executed, always putting Miguel's interests first. Finally, the day came when Ana and Miguel were able to live together fully and safely again. This moment was celebrated not only by them, but also by everyone who supported them along the way. Mr. Luis, in particular, felt a deep pride when he saw how Ana and Miguel had grown and strengthened themselves. He continued to be an important figure in their lives, but now as a friend and mentor rather than a central support figure. The relationship between the three was based on respect, affection, and a deep sense of family. The story of Ana and Miguel, which began with a situation of despair and abandonment, ended with a note of hope and redemption. Ana proved to everyone, and to herself, that she was capable of getting up from the most difficult times and building a better life for herself and her son. The community's support, Senor Luis's timely intervention, and Anna's own willpower were crucial elements in this transformation process. Together, they created a new beginning that not only offered Anna and Miguel a second chance, but also inspired everyone around them. The ending of this story is not only about Anna's redemption, but also about the ability of a community to come together to help its members in times of crisis. The message is clear. With compassion, support, and a second chance, it is possible to overcome the most difficult challenges and find a path to happiness and stability. Anna and Miguel's journey is a powerful reminder that even in the darkest circumstances, there is always an opportunity for a new beginning.